Recording in progress.
Hey everybody, this is Computer Science 1, Introduction to Programming in C++. I copied stuff from our last week, our project that we were working on, and we'll just expand on it a little bit more today. We're switching to a new module now. We're going to be looking at classes. So Module 9 is on classes. We'll just go over the fundamentals of it today because you got a test this week. The test will be available at 6 p.m. I was just telling David. It'll be available at 6 p.m. right after this class, and will be due Sunday at midnight, so that if you are caught up, you'll be able to get it done before spring break. I don't recommend not doing any work over spring break because that usually means a week of vacation, means you're not thinking about it at all, and you kind of lose some of your stuff. If you're in calculus or physics or something like that, it kind of sucks when that happens. This is module 10 though, not module 9. So we're looking at classes. And so how are they different, or what are they about? Let's take a look at structure. So we got our point structure that we've been using, and I copied it from before. We got our constructor for our point structure. Constructor for point structure. That's a good mouthful right there. We've got our display. That's kind of nice and handy. We've got two variables. So let's say, like, I've got my point, and we'll call it my point, my P. And we'll set it up, since I got constructors, I can use commas. We'll set it up as 3, 4. And let's pretend for now that this main program is in its own program. The point structure and implementation are in like header files and stuff like that you will access and use like it's someone else's code. And maybe even the main is part of someone else's code and you're adapting it. So it can kind of, right now I've got this point like this, and we can see it out doing the normal handy dandy stuff. Display point is my function. Now I'll just run it and show what we got. A simple main, 2 lines. And it prints out the 0.3, 4. So what if I like want my 3, 4 locked in, and I don't want you touching it? But and I even bother to say, please don't change this. I need this value. I need this value for other things that I'm working on. We're working on a project together. I don't need you changing it. You miss my comment, and you come along and go, you know what? I need my px. I need it to equal, 5. And I need my py to equal 12 for what my project is. And so you go in and change it to do that, and you've actually changed the point. My P is now, did not get updated. What happened? Oh, I put the display point. We'll do it before and after. That's the problem. I printed it before I changed it. So I had in 3, 4, and you came along and you said, I need 512. And when I go to use my code and I don't know that you've done that because I've asked you not to, I'm going to assume you did as requested, but you didn't anyways. You changed it. You've put in 512. I'm using 512 and I don't know it. That sucks. That really sucks when someone else can change your stuff. So that's where classes come in. Let me create a class. We'll go with box. I'm going to call it a box. That's box. And what do boxes have? Boxes, they've got a length, they've got a width, they've got a height. Maybe they've got dimensions. So units. Apparently need to include string up here. And so I've got my box, and you know what? Let's make a box constructor and display. So we'll do a void display box. And we're going to do constructor box. And we'll do like double length, arg length, double arg width, double arg height, and string for arg units. And so these are my prototypes. Let's go down below. Oop, that's a colon, not a semicolon. Let's go down there and implement these prototypes of these methods. We can do display box first. I don't know, see, let's go, I don't know, box. The box measures, we'll do out the arg length. I don't need quotation marks. I need length. I need arg L. No, I don't need anything in it. That's my oh yeah, I'm throwing myself off looking at the box up there. I don't need anything in it because we already have access to our classes are very much like structures. So we have access to that does the same setup as structures. The box measures length. I'll enter a space. Well, we'll say length by width by height. And then I need a space because I want to put it in the word, the type of units they are. And maybe something. That's maybe a period. Put a period at the end. So I got my display cout box, and it's saying there's a problem because I haven't scoped it. So you always got to remember to scope these things. So that should fix up that one. Let's set up my box. I'll scope it first so I remember to do it right away. Oops. So we'll say length equals argl, width equals rw, and height equals argh, and we'll go with units equals argu. Argue, I love it. Like you're arguing with somebody. It's fantastic. And now I'll come up here in my main. I've got it prototyped and I've got my methods implemented. And I'll come up in my main and we'll comment the stuff out. We don't need points anymore. And we're going to make a box. Box is my box. And I've got stuff put there so I can put length first. I can make it let's make it a 3, 4, 5. Why do I want a 3, 4, 5? I don't know. And we'll make it, let's not do, let's do 8.5 by 11. 8.5, 11, and maybe a stack of paper. We're doing like, our box has a ream of paper in it. Our ream of paper is maybe 3 inches tall. And the units for paper is in inches. So maybe I'll call this my paper box. Why does it not like 8.5? Did I not say double? I did say double. What's going on here? Why do you not like it? My paper box, and we will display box. And it's got some issues. Let's see why. Suspecting it's because I don't have the constructor set up. Look at that. Double arg-l. I knew what was wrong. I just was misthinking. Arg-l, arg-w, arg-h, arg-u, all of those things are inaccessible. You cannot access a private member declared in class box. So, what the class does is classes keep everything private, safe from change, unless we allow it with the public section. So, a good idea, or how, let me put this above because it's making me not like the where it's at. Put this right here. Classes are broken up into private and public sections. Usually we put the private at first. It defaults to private, so this line I'm about to do right now isn't really necessary, but it does help keep things organized. If I write a section is private and a section is public, did you see how when I put public in, let me get rid of it. Let me take it back out. And see how it's angry. It doesn't want to allow it. And then I put public in. And it goes, oh, shit, all good, all good. Public means it's accessible. So I can protect stuff from other people and make it so they can't edit it unless I allow it. So I will show how to allow it, but let's just make sure this runs the way I want it. The measure's 8.5 by 11 by 3 inches. Okay. That's my C out. That's the way I wanted it. So we're going to talk about a couple things today. In addition to classes, how we have a private section and public section. That's the big difference. We'll work on showing how we can make more constructors rather than having to type everything in right there like that. We want something that's just plain. And then we will look at, well, what if I want someone to have access to private data members, private values? So how do we give access to private values? So these are my methods. And the way we give access to people in the public, they're called accessor methods. And we can make them really simple. We want to give them a method to set values and retrieve values. So I can make like a set length. Shouldn't read. They're setting a value, so it shouldn't return anything. So we'll say void set length, and they will pass in a value. There we go. And we can do that for each of the parameters: length, width, and height. And I will go down below and implement these. So we're going to start doing our accessor methods. And they're pretty simple. I want length to equal arg length. So whatever they send in, I'm going to set length equal to it. I need to scope these all. I have not scoped them, so let me just scope them real quick. And that is a simple set method for length. Width equals arg width. And height equals arg h. And we want to give them a way to retrieve them. Retrieve's a little bit long, but we could go with something like get. I don't want to copy and paste it. So let's go with like get length. Well, here we want it to retrieve the length, which is a double. So it's got to return a length, but we don't actually need to pass anything in. So our get methods are going to have, say, get in them, our retrieval methods. These are our set the value methods. And these are our retrieve or get the value methods. And I can make one for each. And we'll come down and we'll prototype those or implement those. Again, I need to use my scope resolution operator, scope them out. And the get methods are really easy too. I want to return the length, so I will just say return length. For the get width, I want to return the width, and that's all I need to do. Oh wait, it's just WID. And finally, get height would be, wrong symbol. Return HGT. So what this allows me to do is I've got my box, and now not only can I set it, I can, allow changes. I can say my paper box. I will change the length, but I got to do it with set length. I want to change it. I don't want it 8.5 by 11. They got what, 8 by 10 is another one for like a smaller size. So I'll do set the length to 8. I'll set the width to 10. The height can stay the same, and we'll leave inches the same. And we'll show how the box, where I've now allowed them to change it. Oh, I should have an end line in there. Look at that. And I want some end lines at the end so it's easier to see. Just make sure it's viewing the way I like it. All right, all good. So we've allowed them to change it. But since we've allowed them to change it, they could do something stupid. Like send in a negative length and a negative width. Even a negative height. So like maybe we should do some data validation. And one way of doing that is, well, we could do it in our constructor. Like if they type it off wrong and they get go, we could fix it. We could say if argl is less than 0, what we're going to do is do argl times equals negative 1.0. And I can do that for all three. If arg w is less than 0, arg w times equals negative 1.0. This should make it positive. Times equals is the same thing as saying argw equals argw times negative 1.0. So that's like the similar format. And we'll do the height one.
Why are we assigning the length to argl in this and in multiple other places?
Say that again?
So right here you have len equals argl.
Uh-huh.
And then down below you also have that in like a couple other spots.
That's a great question. That's one I was getting to. I'm glad you asked before I got to it. I was even going to do this right here. If I do this here, I might as well finish typing what I was going to do, because I can always copy and paste it. If I do this in my constructor method, and then I also want to do the same shit in my set methods, maybe I should just do it all down there. So maybe I should take this out of my constructor method, just put it here. Because if I make a bunch of different constructor methods, I'd have to do this on all of them. This is a pain in the butt. But if I do this on these ones, we'll take this out and put it in height. If I do that there, I can just, rather than using these, I can go with set length. I can pass it a method from within, pass it another method that's already there. So I can do that with all of them. And now I don't have to do that thing everywhere. But this is my constructor, so I still need to have a way of putting it in there. Wait, no, I spelled set height. And I believe if I haven't done set units, maybe we should do that as well. Yeah, let's do a string set units, or string get units and string set units. So here we were able to do the data validation just once. And then we've got a command to simplify it. So we're not typing a bunch of shit more than once. I'm doing the units now. So we've got void box set units. We got string argue. Kind of hard to validate this one a little bit. So we'll just go with units equals argue. And then we got to do our return it string box get units void, and we'll return units here. And so we can actually do that. If we want to have it everything good and proper, we should probably use those up here instead of doing length. Even though it has access to it, good coding will use the functions that we have. So I'll do get length and I'll do get width and I'll do get height and get units. Oops. And now I've got everything. I've got my Accessor, my set methods, and my get methods. Anytime we want to change a value or retrieve a value, we can do that. And now this works with other people. If I have it set up in different, like we're sharing a project, and like if I don't want you, like let's say you're English or French or something, and you use the metric system, and like I do not need you mofos fucking up my system by putting in like centimeters. So I want you to know it needs to be inches. I'm not going to let you change those units. You will have to do the conversion. You can always get the units to make sure you know what units you have, but I'm going to turn off access to setting them. So I can prevent people from changing a system that I don't want. This would have saved NASA and the European Space Agency a lot of money several years back when they were working together on a project and Americans were doing it in American units and the European Space Agency was doing it in the metric system. They did not adapt their calculations to fit the other. They weren't paying attention. And so when the thing got to Mars, it was either going, it wasn't going too fast. It wasn't going fast enough. If it was going fast enough, it would have gone into orbit like it was supposed to. But it wasn't going fast enough so that the entry into orbit caused it to just lawn dart. It went and crashed on the surface. And they wasted millions and millions of dollars because they didn't share units with each other. So this would be something like maybe that's a good thing to do. Don't let them set the units. Or if they set the units, put in some coding where like if you chose centimeters, we got to make sure all these calculations are done. So that's a good way to go about doing it. A good purpose for a class. I'm going to turn this back on because I don't want to comment stuff out. So anything in the private section is hidden unless I allow them access. If I don't care, I could, like if I only wanted units to stay the same, I could put this down here and not do that. And then we don't even need the get and set methods for length, width, and height because they are in the public domain. They're able to be used by others. But in general, it's a good idea to protect your unit or protect your stuff and allow access where needed. Then, like, okay, so we got a box. Maybe we should do some calculation. These are all our accessor methods. These are all, that's our constructor method. So here's our constructor methods. And maybe we should have some utility methods. So I'll come down here and make a separate section for those. Utility methods. Things we use. Boxes have a surface area. So maybe
my next, why are we, I'm assuming you're using the get methods to take user input.
We're using set methods to get user input.
Okay.
Let me simulate that real quick. So like if I want to do user input right here, I could say, I'll make a new box. No, this one's fine. We'll just go with it as it is. See, what kind of units are the box? And we'll see in, how do we do this? You might be able to go straight into set units, but I don't think so. I'll make a temporary once, a couple temporary things. We'll make a temporary double. And we'll make a temporary string. Oh, maybe I should make temp L, temp W, temp. And we will do CN temp S. And since we did a string, we'll do the ignore. What is the length? CN temp L. And I think that's enough to simulate what I want to do. So if I want them to change the units, I've already got my paper box set up. I can't go directly to length equals temp S, but I can go set length and I can pass into it temp L. And I can't directly access the units because there's no, like I do units, the only two options are get or set. So I'll go with set and I'll pass in whatever they say for those units. The units are in miles. The length is 3.14. So that allowed them to change it, and that's the only way they could change it. And then I can't, if I don't want them to have access to something to change, I just don't make a set method for it. They can't do it. I can make it so they can get the value because like they might want to be able to get the units and not set them. Like I want to know what system this is in.
So get units is you're just using it as an ability to read what's there.
Yes. Read the value that's present. Read the saved values. And our set methods are change the methods or change the values in the object.
Would it be a better option to just do a CN in the set length method?
That might just work.
So that you could just, so that instead of having to have like another set of string and blah, 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 you could just say what kind of units are the box and then just go my paper box set units, my paper box set length.
Let's give that a try. In my head, I'm like, that is the least thing I'm comfortable with. So I want to do one method that does work. But you're going with this right here. We're going to do a C in there. And it doesn't want to do
No,
that.
I'm talking, so take out the CN.
Okay.
And then go down to set length method.
And ask it in, put it in here?
Correct. Call for it in here.
The only reason I don't want to do that, or I didn't, we could. If we do that, though, we don't want to use these in the constructor methods. Does that make sense?
Yep.
We'll take a look. We'll do a sample of that next time we play. That did not like it.
If you were going to do that, you would have to have the input be void as well, though, right?
Say that again.
I said if you're going to do that, you would have to take the you would have to take
the
something
input.
in.
Yeah, we'd have to void out the input because they don't need to pass anything in. That's exactly correct. There's a way to do this. It's like CN comma something. I will look it up for our next one. It's once you're used to it, you're used to it. I just never use it that often because it seems like a pain in the butt. That's the kind of idea we got going on here. We could do some utility methods. Maybe we'll save that for another day though. So we would do like not avoid. We would want to do like a surface area, or maybe calculate surface area. And it's got all the values, so we don't need to. We should have a void there. And since it's a box, it's got a volume, so calc volume. And again, it has access to everything.
Okay. I was just finding it looks like you have to tell it that in your function definition, you have to say that you're bringing in the input stream as your input, and then you can do read int standard cin.
I'm not understanding. Say that again.
In the definition of your function, your prototype or your method, you have your input would be the input stream in order to use cin directly into your function.
No, if we had, like, if I wanted to get the units in directly, like, if I wanted to do that with like set units, I could do that. I could put it as a void down here. Like, let's just like edit this one and say go set units cin. I could make it a void. And I would do all the prompts in here. See what units do you want to use?
No, I understand that, but you would still have to see into a variable. Right?
They'd have to do it in here, but I don't need to do it here. All I'd have to do is do my paper box, get units, cin. And since it's void, I would have that. And when that runs, that would come down here. It runs it as a void. It would come down here and go, okay, what's in the void cin box? It'll prompt the user right there. What's the units? And we have the cin here. And so we don't need to, like, unless I'm understanding your question wrong.
Yeah, you are. That's right. I was going to send this to you real quick.
Okay. Okay. Oh, we got 3 people. Hey, Lise, how you doing? I think that's a good spot to stop for the class, unless you want to like show me what you're thinking.
I just sent you a thing, or sent it to everybody, technically. Okay. But
let me open it up, take a look.
So it looks like what they're doing in their prototype is they're naming the input as the IO stream, as the actual input stream, and then taking in, instead of cin, a variable, and then putting the variable in.
Huh. It's exactly the way cin works. Like normally when we would do cin and we do the double arrow and the X. Just like we were doing right here. Just they used a specialized version. They said iStream, which is just input stream, and they use that here. I see what you're saying.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding that then.
And then in your code.
Yeah, I guess they're just naming that variable, huh? So there isn't a way to just like take Or is there a way to just take CN directly into?
All this is a CN, isn't it? So like it seems like you could just embed this concept in here. Rather than doing read integer standard CN, you could do change val, put this in right there. Let's see. Why do I got two open up? Fail. Let me change the size of it so I can read both. Let's simulate what they got. So we want to change, let's just change the length for now. So we want to have it do the CN. So we're going to put that in. So I'm going to come up here to box or set length, and I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to make a new one. Let's make a new one. Void sin units or fit sin length. And we're going to do standard iStream. Let's try it exactly like they got it. That's not how they got it. That's how they got it. And we will come down here at the bottom and prototype this bad boy up. And I want the string, they're like returning I, but so I is the value. Can I just go stream into length? I didn't prototype it or scope it, I mean. Let's try that. Sinlen. Sinlen. I just combined what they did. I don't need the int I, return I, if I can just do the stream directly in it. So I combined all their stuff together. And so we will give that a try up here where we have length. I won't do that one. We were trying to do this one, but we want sin length. And that's got to pass in the standard CN. And I don't need that since I commented that one out. Let's leave the units alone. Let's comment that out. Comment that out. We're just testing this find. Bam! There it is. Learn something new every day. Good find, Dave. David?
Yep.
So they're passing the address of where the input stream is being stored when you enter it. Passing by reference the input stream. I don't even know that they need to call it stream. Can I have just as easily used input? Should, because it just looks like the variable name. Oh, I like that better, because now I know exactly what it's doing. So this is an optional one, an optional setup for directly using a user input. I like it.
Nice.
So we could, I would recommend both. Like if you're really set on that, because not everything you want to have where the length is set is done by user input. Like if there's calculations that are made and it returns a calculation and you want that set, you're gonna want, that's not a user input stream. So it'd be good to have both. This doesn't end. Did I delete it or something? No, I was just off screen. Not bad.
Okay. All right. Well,
and we'll call that a wrap for today. I know you got to go to class. The test is available starting at 6. There is one on reading a character. There's 3 problems in addition to the quiz questions. There's one on you type in a string and you read how many sentences, or you calculate how many sentences there are, maybe by looking for periods. There's another with inputting stuff into an array and doing calculations with an array. And then the third one actually does stuff with a structure and a vector. So it shouldn't be too bad. Like the first 2 things are basically chapter 6 and 7.
yeah, but I still got to bang out all of 9. So.
Oh yeah. I know you ask questions as you're going. Lise, do you have any questions?
No, I'm good.
All right.
All right. Thanks.
Let's call it a wrap. I
Bye.
will post this over in Canvas and post the video. And I will, even though Wednesday is like you're working on the test, I will be here from 4 to 6 on Wednesday. If you have questions, you can always show up and ask. So
We are allowed to ask questions on the test, or no? Is it just like for ourselves, to test ourselves?
You can ask questions related to the test, but like if you ask me like how do I do this, that's like me doing the work for you. But if you're asking for clarification or something like that, yeah, I'll answer questions like that.
Okay.
Okay.
And then when is that due? I didn't see that.
The test will be due Sunday at midnight. It starts being available tonight in an hour, but if you want to get it, if you have plans and you wanted to get it done before spring break starts, for many people, spring break isn't the Monday through Friday. It's the Friday night before all the way to the Sunday night after. So you could get it done early, and that's why I made it available today. Give you a little more time.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah, and I'll be here. My birthday is the middle of spring break. I'm sure I'm driving to the beach for the day. But other than that, I'm going to be home and I'm going to be answering emails. So if you're doing homework, catching up on over break, email me, ask me a question. If you want to meet on Zoom and I'm free, I'll meet you on Zoom. I'll be around.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Appreciate it.
Uh-huh.
Recording